this is the 21st century where the world has become so civilized and it's become a global village. Why do people still do child marriage?
First thing, poverty. Some of them are not necessarily giving their children out in marriage. They are selling up their children.
Okay.
Because of the bride price and whatever you would collect from the other partner's family. Some parents have the mindset of raising children to marry them off. A girl can do many things. That child can come into full realization that she should get married later on in life, not at the age of 2, 5, 10. That girl can go on to be the president of the country. She might as well do that. But it is primarily, I would say, imposed, for the lack of a better word, imposed on them that they are to get married. That consciousness is here from birth. I'm getting married. At 11, what do you want to do? I see myself in my husband's house. It's not bad, but I
big
still
man,
feel...
Big man's wife.
Oh, God's wife. It's not bad, but I still feel we should feed our young girls with the right mindset.
Hello, everyone. You're welcome to another episode of the Intimate Matters podcast. And as you know, on this podcast, we take you on a deep dive into the world of sexual and reproductive health. And today we're here again to discuss an issue that is integral as it pertains to sexual and reproductive health. And we're doing this in celebration of the International Women's Day that has a theme, Accelerate Action. And one of the actions that we're going to be doing today would be to have discussions and to look into intimate partners violence, look into sexual assault, sexual trauma, and how it affects the women. And today we have here an amazing personality, a registered nurse, Aniedu Siphon Peace, who is also the founder of the Well Woman Initiative and also Inspiration.
HQ.
Inspiration HQ. Thank you for joining us, Siphon.
It's amazing to be back here again.
Yeah, like if you could remember, she was here with us on the first season of the podcast where she took time to talk about sexual and reproductive health, right? And today she's here again to have a conversation as it pertains to sexual and reproductive health, abuse and trauma. So I know that this is what your organization does, as it pertains to SDG 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
So we start with the SDG 3, the good health. So give us a background. How did you get into this journey? Because this is not a journey that everybody wants to take.
Story. All right. So concerning the Woman Initiative, it's not one of those cozy, nice, I just wanted to, so I did it now. It's I would say it stems from it's coming from a very early point in life. So I had a friend. I grew up in the north, by the way. So I had a friend. We went to primary school together, and she could not commence to secondary school because, number one, she was an outside girl and she had to get married.
At what age is this?
That's like, can I remember? Okay, let's see. So that's around 9, 10, 11.
Okay.
She got married. Now, we were still talking because, of course, we were friends. So just I. And then she got VVF.
Okay. Fistula.
Yes, fistula.
Physical vaginal fistula.
Yes, she did. And it was a very gruesome sight to see.
Okay, so you still had interaction, you still saw her even when she was suffering from VVF.
Yes. And you could smell, you could perceive the urine and all that. And it just pushed me. Not just I've seen 1,000 young girls and women that either lacking from either good health, quality education, or the right opportunities. Now I have this theory that if a woman if she has access to quality health care, I would always say it, so you can hear it in other of my videos, access to quality health care, good education, and she has the right opportunities. She's a force to reckon with.
All right. I think I like the way that you're starting with that. Your inspiration was a friend of yours who happened to suffer from vesical vaginal fistula at age 10 or 11. I think that's something that most people don't realize, that before we come into it, people feel that when a young girl, I should say so, becomes physically mature. By physical maturity, I mean, she's getting to puberty.
Yeah.
She started developing secondary sexual characteristics. The breast is budding. She's menstruating. Some people assume that she's ready, or they assume that the body is, ready to go through the whole reproductive
process. No.
issue. So we'll start with that, since you're starting with that, because
Okay.
that has been like one of the pointers to a kind of sexual harm to the girl child marriage. So why do you think that this is the 21st century, where the world has become so civilized and it's become a global village, why do people still do child marriage?
So concerning child marriage, I'm going to say some myths. The first one is the young girl does not know any man at that point, so she's sweet, quote unquote, sweet. That's one.
Okay.
Two, ignorance. Ignorance. And I'm very big on the ignorance, because most people, like you said earlier, they just see someone, she's a teen, so of course she can get married. And then maybe their grandmother or their great grandmother got married at the age of 2. They feel it's also something that they should continue. Now, that is for, let's say, the men. Now, the women, that is the girl's parents rather, they first in poverty. Some of them are not necessarily giving their children out in marriage. They are selling up their children.
Okay.
Because of the bride price and whatever you would collect from the other partner's family. That's one. Two, I just feel some parents have the mindset of raising children to marry them off.
Okay, where they have like a huge amount of children, like in terms of numbers, and just believe that they can use them as a means to maybe get.
That is inclusive, but that's not the point I'm trying to drive. I'm speaking more of the fact that, okay, for example, I think I made a post the other day. Someone gave birth, like his wife gave birth, and the first caption that he put out there was another bride price to be collected.
Okay.
That is it. So they are giving birth because of they know that they are getting
a bride price.
So the person that comes at that point is who you are being sent off to. So that's the first point. Two, maybe they have 15 children or 16 children, and they're trying to see that they have they're trying to give up their children to marriage, and then even at the tender age of 11, 12, 13, 14, even 15, give up that child to someone.
Okay. So because I realized that if it happens like this, like you said, it's still something that people still feel that the girl child is greatly linked to marriage. I say this as someone who has a large number of female siblings, which you know about. And oftentimes people see me and they be like, the bride price or the marriage rights things you're going to get on these people's head is so much. But isn't that the truth that most girl child will tend to get married and provide some stuff for the family in terms of marriage, right?
When you're saying provide some stuff, it's as if it's
like they'll pay things from our culture. They'll pay things on
I'm
our
not
head.
saying it's the wrong thing, but at that tender age, of course, I want to get married. People want to get married. Although there are persons that don't want to get married, which is perfectly fine. But I would love to get married. People want to get married. And when I'm getting married, you pay the right dues to my parents. But you should not make that the primary point of your conception of that child. So right from age 2, you know that you are getting married to a man. A girl can do many things. That child can come into full realization that she should get married later on in life, not at the age of 2, 5, 10. That girl can go on to be the president of the country. She might as well do that. But it is primarily, I would say, imposed, for the lack of a better word, imposed on them that they are to get married. That consciousness is here from birth. I'm getting married. At 11, what do you want to do? I see myself in my husband's house. It's not bad. But I
big
still
man,
feel...
Big man's wife.
Oh, God's wife. It's not bad. But I still feel we should feed our young girls with the right mindset. Marriage is right, but it should be according to priority. Now, in economics, there's something called scale of preference. So the most important is above, and then, it goes down That should be the same thing with them. Marriage should not be on the top of their list for a young child.
All right. So, like she had said, a marriage should not be on top of the list when you have a girl child. I know that I've met so many amazing young women nowadays who say they do not want to get married. They have no plans of getting married. They are good with maybe opting for one of the assisted reproductive technologies to use to have their children. They could either adopt or use surrogacy and get their children and go along. So I want us to talk about the sexual violence against women, starting with children.
Okay.
We know that oftentimes is always an older person with a younger person. But I spent...
Which gender, please? Specify the gender.
No, for both, for women now, for females now, that
Okay.
women. So it's always either an older man with a younger girl or an older lady with a younger girl.
Okay.
But when I was working in the gender-based violence space, I've seen cases where two children or two minors, these are two young persons, come in and one has committed an act of violence on the other person. Who is to blame in this case? And what are we supposed to do? Because we know, the law has made covering that if I as an adult is to abuse a young girl, this is what is supposed to be done. But in the context where we have two minors, what is to be done?
That's a very tricky question. But I'll try my best to do justice to it. So, first of all, if a young girl abuses a young boy, or if a young boy abuses a young girl, the first thing that I know and the society will do, the first line of action is to blame the parents or their guardians. Because most times, the morals that you instill in a child right from small will still stand the test of time. Now, there are exceptions to some children who are very unique. Yes. So the first thing that they do is to file a complaint. That issue should not be settled out between the two families. They say you have family meeting. The girl parents will come, the boy parents will come, they'll talk and shake hands. No. The first thing is that issue should be reported to the Ministry of Women Affairs or Ministry of Justice. That's the first line of action. Secondly, for whosoever the person is, either the male or the female, there are juvenile prisons. Not juvenile prison, correction homes. Let me use a milder word. Correction homes for children where they are taught.
Yeah, and rehabilitated.
Exactly, yes. And I think that's okay. Then from there, they can handle it further.
All right, because I love the fact that you pointed out that it's essential that cases like these are taken care of by law enforcement professionals. Because a couple of years ago, I'm saying like 5-6 years ago, it was quite common here in Akwa Ibom State that every time we have a sexual violence case, oftentimes they give it to traditional rulers in the community to judge. And one thing we realized, because back then I was working in that space, because of personal sentiment, the person who might be the offender may be related to the person who is judging. A whole lot of things were swept under the carpet. Like you said, they would just come and be like, say sorry. And everybody will say sorry, and everybody just smiles, shakes hand, and leaves, until I think it was the wife of the previous governor that came in and said that every sexual crime should be something that is treated by the police and also by the law court. I think they even now have a separate department in charge of that.
Violence.
So what do you think causes or risk factor that has become an issue that has predisposed the girl child to a whole lot of sexual violence?
Okay. First of all, this is Africa. Now, ideally, I'm going to enter the context of a romantic relationship, be it marriage or
cohabitation, or they did small thing on my head.
Courtship and all that. So first of all, the thing is this, for the idea of the context of marriage, the man is the head of the home and the woman is to submit to the man. Now, I think that is a very misused term, because it's a right saying, but it's very misused in Nigeria. And my pastor will say something. He'll say, don't marry a coconut head of the home. Don't marry a coconut head of the home. And that is very valid because I think most men misuse or misunderstand the fact that they are heads of the home. So they see it as sort of a monarchy where they just rule automatically and anything that they want to do to the woman can be done to her at that point. That's the
Okay.
first thing, yes, with marriage. Now, concerning a relationship, very touchy. But this is it. For a relationship, it's still, I'm going to speak based off personal experience and what should be ideally. Now, the thing is, if you do not present yourself or if you are taking much of the nonsense that is ongoing, more will come. To whom much is given.
Much is expected. So you're saying, okay. You're saying nobody should take nonsense.
No. I'm not saying nobody should take nonsense. See, the thing is this. How do I put it in a way that I don't sound so controversial? The thing is this. Offer value. When you are valuable and you show that person is valuable, I don't think there will be a point where we begin to hassle for little things such as who is cooking, who is washing, who is going to work, who is not working and all that.
Okay, so sorry that I'm cutting you in because you've gone with the with the other things you want to say that are the causes. A couple of months ago, I think it was last year, middle of last year, there was a very viral case here in this state, in Akwa Ibom State, where we had a very well-known lawyer,
Okay.
a lady in this context that was beaten mid naked by the spouse. It was all over social media, right? You talked about the fact that if you overvalue to an extent, why was it that such a woman of that pedigree, of that standing, you can't tell me that a woman of such standing does not have value to offer, but it still came to her.
First of all, I don't know what happened in their marriage. So
Okay.
I'm not speaking as it should be. I'm speaking based on my personal opinion. Men will be men. Women will be women. So if you're having a case where someone of that capacity and influence is still being beaten by the man, now that the first thing first is if you're in an abusive relationship, leave. Before it degenerates to that level. If you're in an abusive relationship, please leave. Take the exit door. Go out. That's the first thing. And I'm sure that there were signs, obviously, because you won't just wake up one day and beat someone to stupor. There were signs. That's the first thing. Secondly, take legal actions at the earliest point. If she had, I don't know whether she did or did not. I don't know.
She did not, because when the legal action was to be taken, she asked that it be withdrawn.
What's a love?
So
I understand. I don't understand. Okay, I get it.
are you? Don't be speechless.
I'm not speechless. I'm trying to put my thoughts together. The thing is this: women should be protected. That's why we have people, we have organizations, we have people. There is a coalition against gender-based violence that I'm part of in Akwa Ibom State, and the governor's wife, now daughter, is now in charge of that coalition. That's why we have people like that, and they are doing an amazing job, by the way. I've seen what they've been doing. That's why we have people like that that come in to step in for these women, even if they are, because it can be as a result of manipulation. That's why that case was, or she said she wants to withdraw. Maybe manipulation. Maybe she has thought of her children as a mother. Maybe she has thought of what next to do. Maybe she feels she is overly dependent on the man. That's why we have people like that will step in and offer the right help, either psychologically, financially, emotionally, and all that, and then ensure that suitable measures are being put in place such that this woman does not return to that, or if she's returning to that, that does not happen again.
That she has a form of protection.
Yes, exactly. She has people standing by her that does not happen again. Yeah, so.
Okay, so let's jump a bit into the psychological aspect of it, because I wonder why, because oftentimes maybe you're going through the papers, you're seeing happenings around, and sometimes you see an elderly person come to abuse a younger person sexually. I mean, do you think there is a psychological background to this? Do you feel that a normal psychologically, a normal person would do that. So you are an adult, sometimes with the means that you could negotiate yourself, negotiate a romantic partner in the space. Maybe either you want to go meet the people that actually exchange sex for money, or maybe you go meet someone that you build a romantic relationship with. But you choose not to go to such people and you decide to go for a minor. Do you think such people are like psychologically okay?
That's a question.
Okay.
What's your definition of a normal person?
Okay, I want to say that a normal person could be someone who is able to take a rational decision, right? Because what I'm saying this is that sometimes when it comes to places like this, they rationalize it, things like, I was seduced. There is, I read on social media about a story about a teacher sleeping with a student. And when it was brought on social media, people will always give their take. And somebody came and said, if that child was not forced, although the child is a minor, she's below 18, but if that child was not forced, maybe it could have been the one that was seducing the teacher. So I feel that that's a form of rationalization. Is that something that can be rationalized?
Now, the main emphasis is on rational. Now, a child, this is biologically proven, psychologically, according to the law, a child below the age of 18 cannot make suitable decisions for themselves. That's why we have parents, we have guidance, we have orphanage homes for people who have lost both of their parents and maybe their guardians are refusing to take responsibility. A child cannot make rational decisions for themselves. Now, even if that child wants to do that, you as the adult, it is expected that you are well advanced and grown. So you should be able to take the rational decisions in those cases. So you can't tell me that you're telling me that if the child wanted or the child seduced you.
That I wasn't the one that said it. It was
was
that guy that gave that hot take on that.
The person that gave that take on that. You don't tell me that the table is turned, that the child is not the adult and the adult is not the child, because it's someone that does not have willpower that will do whatever someone says. So you can't tell me that a small child seduced a whole grown adult like you, and you're the child and that person is the adult to make that kind of rational decision, according to them, rational. So you can't tell me that.
All right, because it's unfortunately this person in question, when further investigation was done, is in charge of a religious organization. And that is why you need to be very careful out there, the kind of people that you allow your children come in contact with. I know that we are a very religious group down here in Africa. People love religion here. They love the church. They love the mosque. They love the gods of their fathers. But you need also to know that these people, sometimes the devil, like the scripture says, can also be in sheep clothing.
Okay. Now, I would say something. That's in addition to what you said. So because a person is a religious leader, it doesn't matter the religion, irrespective of whatever religion. And I think that's one thing that we need to really hammer on in Africa or Nigeria. The fact that your pastor or your imam or your shrine leader is a supreme, not supreme, what's the word? I would say the leader doesn't mean that your child should now be too free. And I think that's something that some mothers do. I've seen some mothers do that. You give a young child the food to go and give. Go to the pastor and go and give the pastor food. And this person is unmarried. Even if he's married, safe. Nowadays, everybody did do everything. So even if the person is married, you take child of 13 years carrying food to go and give the pastor and waiting till the pastor finish eating to bring the plates and wash the plates and bring it back. I've seen a case like that. That child will stay there. The man will eat and finish. Wash the plates, bring it back to the mother. That is a risk.
Because the man fit to wash plate, finish, still can't wash plate.
Can wash his hand, wash other things and everything. And even if a pastor said something, she said that she cannot allow her children to stay in the same room with any stranger, no matter how close you are. And I think that's something that all of us should move with. No matter, even if you are my uncle or my grandfather, I don't think we should allow our children to stay in that same street. You just leave somebody there and then you go out for 6 hours. Like your child. The person may have pure intentions.
but I feel bad because sometimes I sit down and when I see issues like this, I know the times have changed, but I ask, where did we go wrong? Because you've said a couple of things. I've been sent to deliver food to people. I've been sent to stay in the custody of my relatives, my uncles. I have sisters. We've stayed in custody of relatives, uncles, cousins, and the rest. But where did we go wrong? How did things change and deteriorate to this level that even if it's if you are the father and this is like your blood brother, you're not safe again
Still skeptical about it.
to allow your child to
Yes,
stay.
no. This is the end time. Everybody's doing everything. Now it's left for us to be very careful. We can't. I used to think of that also because I've had an uncle stay with me and we're very, very good. There was no issue of this person touched me, this person did not touch, this person jump up, this person did not jump up. We're very good, but right now we can't vouch for anybody because everybody have different orientation. So I might as well carry my thought of my ideas and then take my children and put in my nest and stay together because you don't know. You can't trust anybody. That's the first thing. Concerning rape and relative, family, you can't trust anybody. Ideally, right now in Nigeria and the world, you can't trust anybody.
All right. So you've talked about not trusting anybody, talking about the extended family. Issues have been going on about these ones that happen within the nuclear family. I'm talking about brothers are abusing sisters, fathers are abusing daughters, right? And I want to ask this question because oftentimes when this issue pops up, except in few cases, most times the women in the family, I'm talking about like the mothers and the wives and the other sisters, if they get to know about this, tend to cover up this thing. Why do you think they do it? Why should a mother know that the husband, who is also the father, is having carnal knowledge of the child, but she's still covering up?
First thing first, your orientation at that point really matters. Now, of course, they know that this thing should not be happening. But because some men are trying to save the face of their husbands, one, they are trying to, in their own idea, keep their homes together, two. Thirdly, for the religious ones, they don't want the devil to penetrate into their home. Through their
innocent devil don't
devil innocent again.
Yeah, innocent devil. Because most of these things they are accused. Is it really the devil?
Let me leave that. Don't worry. Come to church. We'll talk about that. But the thing is, most of them just feel as if they should not give the devil room. I've heard a story. Someone said, I think the man raped the child. Like the father was having carnal knowledge of the child, and the school teacher found out, and when they brought everything, she said, what would people say, first of all? The devil cannot gain a ground in this marriage and in this woman. I'm like, auntie, I beg. Your husband is a full-grown man. You can't tell me that he did it because mom put blankets over his eyes and he did it and all that. So most of these men just feel as if they should protect their home and the marriage and the man. And then you rarely see a man that has carnal knowledge of the child that the mother doesn't know about. Or he doesn't abuse the mother. Let me put it that way.
So it's always abusing the mother most times.
Most times, yeah, there can be exceptions. But most times, this man is abusing the mother. And she cannot speak up. Or she's afraid. Or even while abusing her, she doesn't want to leave also because what will people say? The devil don't want to. And those stories. Now, she now finds out that he's taking carnal knowledge of the child. Most times, they tell the child to endure. Because they themselves, they've been enduring. So, generative.
Okay, so it's a factor of we're trying to protect the image of the family and also protect the man and also what the society will say, and then the almighty big thing that Africa has, the devil should not win. So let's talk about, because when we started this conversation, you started with your why as it pertains to your friend. Are there cultural and religious implications to these? Are there sentiments inclined to that most of these things are based on certain cultures or certain religion?
Before now, we would say yes. 10, 15 years ago, I would have said yes. But right now, it's everywhere. So you can't just say, oh, is this particular religion or this particular culture, because maybe that's what they've been passing down to them, or that's what they've seen and all that. Right now, everybody does it. I can't even sideline. We can only see that it is seen more in a particular culture or religion, but we can't say one religion is predominantly the one sharing that movement, because right now everybody is carrying it on. So that's it. Everybody. It's everywhere. I can't say either. I don't mention a particular religion. Yeah. But we can't say it's either A or B. It's both A and B together. Yes.
All right, because before now, people used to run away from a particular place and say, I'm coming down over to this side, that it's not happening. But across different society stratas, the rich, the poor, the middle class, the very poor, abuse is happening. We're seeing some of these stories, because it's not even most of this. We're seeing some of these stories filter into the media spaces, and we read them, we see it in our environment, and sometimes we see it on our social media and also on our televisions. And today we're here with the amazing Aniedo Sifon to discuss sexual abuse as it pertains to how to protect women in celebration of the International Women's Day on the Intimate Matters podcast. And you can do well to follow us on all our social media platforms. We're on Facebook, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram. And you can also join our private WhatsApp channel, where you can have interaction with the guest and also make recommendation. We'll be glad to know the topics that you want us to talk about, and we'll be glad to oblige you. So, Aniedo, let's talk about the implication. Some of these children have gone through this process. Some of them may have had help, may not have had help. Some are now adults. So what are the implications first to them as individuals? What are the possible consequences, and, if I could say, complications that may come about from this abuse?
Okay. The first thing is trauma. Trauma is not necessarily the idea of a child was kidnapped and then when he's rescued, the person has PTSD and all that. Down to the most basic thing, as either beating a child mercilessly, or raping a child, or having carnal knowledge of a small child. That child grows up with that. Now, I've heard a story of, I'm going to share many stories. I've heard a lot. I've heard a story of a group of young people. So they were having a conversation, and most of them that were really championing the whole idea of sex, forced sex, and all that, were people that suffered from abuse while they were growing up as children. Now, I'm not talking about women, I'm talking about men growing up as boys. They were either abused by their aunties, their mothers, their sisters, their big mummies, and all that. And most of these people are traumatized, one. Two, it's a scale. Either they really enjoy sex so much, or they do not enjoy sex at all. So it's either you're moving left or right. That can also happen. Thirdly, they feel, some of them may have a mindset shift such that that particular thing that happened to them is normal, so they can do it to someone else.
Okay.
Now, those are the ones that no actions were taken, or they shrugged it off as maybe the child is lying, or you're just a child, so what do you know? Those people tend to have that. Then lastly, for the women, I've had cases of people that hate men a lot because they've been, they were raped, they were traumatized, they did something to them and nothing was done. Even if something was done, it takes relentless therapy sessions, counseling and all that for that child to be able to have a different mindset. Trust me, that thing is, I don't want to say a mindset shift, but at that tender age, that's a mindset shift from what they should have known. So all those are implications of child abuse, let's put it that way, child abuse or juvenile abuse, yes.
Okay, so some grow up to hate the people that actually abuse them, maybe in this context, to hate
It
men.
mustn't necessarily just be the people. Okay, yeah, the gender.
Yeah, the gender that
can't just be the people.
Yeah, the gender that caused the abuse in this context, men, and some end up to to recycle the whole process. So because it was done to me, I have to do it to the next person, which is actually, there's a psychological backing to this, that most bullies and people that were abused tend to grow up to become the same thing they so hated, because their body has tend to normalize it. It happened to me. Nobody said anything. So who says I cannot do it?
As well happen to someone.
Yeah, it can also happen to somebody. And I think that's when they grow up and they do these things, and sometimes they are caught, or sometimes they get to express themselves. They do not show any remorse. They feel that maybe I've heard stories from other people that it has been happening to. They'll be like, why is it looking as if your own is,
or concerning that, I would say some of them have seen people do it and nothing happened to them. So based off the idea of who you know. So say, oh, if I do this, nothing will happen after all. I'm this, I'm that. So can still stem up from there.
Yeah, that's true. Because I remember a story I heard. I was still in nursing school then. In passing, about a guy who a lady came to their house to see the elder brother, right? And the elder brother was not in. So the lady was like, they stay in a big house where each of them have like their own personal room. The elder brother was not in. The room was locked. So the lady was like, called the elder brother. The elder brother was like, I'm coming. She was like, ask the guy, can I stay in your room till like your brother comes back? He said, okay, no problem. So the lady came in and the guy had to force himself on the lady, rape the lady. But when the brother raped.
Okay.
So because this is also one of the issues we had when the issue was treated, because it was treated in like a local traditional council, not like in a law court.
That's a problem.
So it was taken to the village head and everything. It's the question that was asked is the verdict they gave in this case. So what did they ask? So they asked the girl what happened. The girl explained. They asked the guy. Now, what happened was that while the girl went into the guy's room, I don't know what was her reason. She carried her slippers and put it inside the house. That was the only thing the council said was consent. Now, why should you go to a guy's house? If you carry your shoe and put inside the house, it means you know what you people are doing.
Say first, please. I'm never a fan of local resolution. Personally, say treaty. You can do that for your national problems or your civil wars. You can have treaty with your neighbor, talk about it. But something as critical as rape, sexual abuse, assault, domestic, don't do indoor meeting for it. Except they both say they want that. Which even myself, I would say no, let's go outside. But you can't tell me that I want to make exceptions for her. But I'll leave it at this. You can't tell me that because I picked my slippers inside, that's consent. The first thing is ignorant, because even those people judging don't understand the concept of consent. If you do understand what consent is, you can't tell them because I picked my two. Also, okay, what I carry one leg inside now? You will say I was giving partial consent on what? No. They don't understand. That is the thing. Second, they never do that as a traditional council. And thirdly, I feel they have deep connections.
The boy that did this stuff came from a very influential family.
Now I bring up very flimsy excuses. Carry what nonsense? What nonsense is that?
So it's essential. I think that's why we should thank the wife of the former governor for making it compulsory that here in Akwa Ibom State, and I hope other states have adopted this, that every form of sexual violence and sexual abuse related cases is treated by the law court, because the 2 years I spent working in the gender-based violence space, I saw a whole lot of things. Sometimes it happens, the child is bleeding, like you said, has fistula, and then the father is spared, for example.
Yeah.
So if the son of Mr. A committed violence against the daughter of Mr. B, Mr. A is very influential. So Mr. A has to pay the father. That's Mr. B himself.
Yeah.
And Mr. B will be like, I don't want any court case. We've decided to settle it out of court. And we've decided to do it our own way, and the family meets. So it's essential that every case be treated. So what are the implications in the long term in terms of the society, away from the person, because we know the individual makes a family. The family forms the building block of the society. So what are the implications in the society?
Okay, so now these cases that we are having now of abuse, rape, assault, and all that, all these things boils down to what happened to that person as a child. Now, these individuals make a society. And of course, maybe I'm going to pick out one from the previous examples I gave. This ones think the recyclers, let me call them the recyclers. So what was done to me, I shall do to others. These people are, I don't want to use the word parasites. That is, so for the lack of a better word, I'll say parasites. Yes. They leech on innocent people and they take out those actions to those people. That's one. Two, economically, because imagine, okay, I think I was on Instagram and I saw a case of a young girl. It's not a Nigerian case, by the way. She wanted to be an astronaut while growing up, but she had to abandon that case because someone raped her and she was trying to fight for justice for that. I think there was also someone that went to Harvard and then she was raped on campus and she abandoned her dreams to pursue one case and see that justice is served. Now think of what that person could have contributed to the society. So what if she went on to be, I would say, the first president or a very influential lawmaker or an employer of people? What if she had big dreams? So our society have suffered one. Economically, we are done with that. Then three, I would say morally, which is what I think we should hammer on more or most. Morally, what are you passing on to your children? Because these persons would have children, of course. They may get married, they may not, but they may have children, they may not. But those that have children, what are you passing on to your children? Now, these children will grow up to be elderly people. They will grow up to be adults. It's a cycle. So I don't want to say they should be eliminated, but there should be serious rehabilitation of these people because all around we are suffering. We will suffer as a result of their past actions or consequences. We'll face the consequences as society for the actions, yes.
All right. So it's important that people who may have suffered sexual abuse be rehabilitated. If not, we're going to have this chain reaction that is going to affect the innocent. So coming to the theme of the International Women's Day for 2025, which is to accelerate action.
Yeah.
So much fancy talk, so many things said. If nothing is done, it will still be things that are being said. Yeah. So what do you think are like key actions that can be done? Let's start with the immediate ones that can be done that we can see that there are marked changes to this sexual abuse, especially in the context of the girl child.
Okay, for sexual abuse.
Yes.
So the first thing I would say is literacy. I know we've been talking about it. People have been doing things about it, but we need to put more effort into it. Like I said earlier, if a child has access to quality education, half of what we are facing today, we would not have it. So the first thing is literacy. Ensure that these girls are sent to school. Now, not everyone may have the financial power to send their daughters to school, but that's why we have the government, first of all. We have philanthropists, we have non-profit organizations to do that. Then I would also branch from literacy to digital literacy, because digital literacy is the bedrock for opportunities, SDG 5. Girls should be educated beyond what we can easily find on Google.
Okay.
I am of that opinion that we should know more than what. If I want to search, there are things that I can find on Google that I don't think a child should spend hours cramming to write an exam and then leave. It should be taught.
Yeah, like example, who discovered River Niger?
Exactly. Or I want to make one joke about those days we used to have mathematics and they say find X, the bearing from A to B. What am I using it to do that now? Nothing. So those things, I think there should be a change to our curriculum. More tech inclined.
And more practical skills.
Yes. The Woman Initiative actually we are working on pushing science, technology, engineering, and maths for girls because this is the 21st century. Whether you like it or not, we are advancing. with technology, and women deserve a seat at that table. So we should start now to empower them and push them there. So we are teaching them UI UX, we're teaching them computer engineering, we're teaching them data analytics and all that. And you see that these people grow up to do so much more concerning the ideas of that. And for someone to have that caliber of knowledge, that person is able to understand a yes and a no. So when I say no to this, you can't tell me that you want to still do that. That will also drive me now to the idea of dependence.
Okay.
Or independence rather. So it's something that we've been hearing every day, but I'll still say it. A woman should be able to afford basic things.
Okay.
Now,
isn't my boyfriend and my husband supposed to take care of me?
that's part of it. But before you get married, what would you do?
That's why I have a boyfriend.
You don't know. No. It's a very biased conception or misconception.
No, I'm
rather.
saying what we
Trending
on
are
social
seeing.
media.
No, I'm speaking of what should be.
Okay.
So you don't tell me you have a boyfriend because you want someone to take care of your bills for you. I don't want to enter that. I don't want to enter that part. No.
Please don't.
But yes, I would not. I would not. But a woman should be able to. All this boils down from the training. Once someone is learned, imagine a UI UX designer. You're well off, yes. So you don't have to wait on someone to do something for you or provide for you. And that particular environment can accelerate assault, abuse, because I'm doing this for you, so I might as well take your life.
Okay.
That is just it, yeah. So.
All right. So with literacy and empowerment of the girl child, because we've seen that ignorance and poverty seems to be something that goes hand in hand with sexual abuse. We believe that we can help to prevent most of these cases of sexual abuse and sexual assault on the girl child. So thank you so much, Nurse Anye Dusifon. Thank you for coming to share with us. So just like 5 minutes, you talked about the Well Woman Initiative. So it's like, I've been seeing a couple of things. It's like you guys have something packed out for the year. So what are like the plans you guys have for this year?
Should I share that? Should I not share that? Okay. So I'll give a snippet of what we are doing this year. So we're having our second year anniversary, the 5th of June. So we are working, last year we worked on SDG 3, that's good health and well-being. We had a free medical outreach for young people. This year we're working to ensure that women are educated, and not just educated, but educated the right way. We're also trying to push the reading culture amongst the young children, not just girls, but the young children. And we're also trying to see that these people understand the concept of education as a power for them. So we are going to go to different states. I'll give you an announcement then. We're going to go out and go to schools, not just in Akwa Ibom State. We're going to go to schools to see how we do the little we can in our little way. Tunde, what's his name? The popular chess player. Yeah, Tunde would say you do big things from a little place. So we are starting there to ensure that women and young girls are educated. Because once they are, trust me, you don't want to know what they can do.
All right. Thank you so much. Please do well to check out the Well Woman Initiative on various social media. I think on Facebook,
Instagram, LinkedIn, X. We're everywhere.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
so please do well to check them out. And thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Intimate Matters podcast.
Welcome.
On this episode, we looked at sexual abuse and we look at sexual violence against women to celebrate the International Women's Day. And we talk about actions that can be taken to ensure that there is a marked difference and to see that we improve the welfare of the women. Thank you so much for joining us. You know that this is the podcast that takes you on a deep dive into the world of sexual and reproductive health. We discuss issues that pertains to your intimacy, because here on the Intimate Matters podcast, we believe that your intimacy matters. Do well to watch this episode and share it to everyone around you, share it to your friends, and like we said, also share it to your enemies, and we'll be glad to have you on our next episode. And until we see you on our next episode, my name is Akwa Wakban, and I am your pilot on this drive. This is me saying bye for now.